I guess we found out the Pac-12, their TV partner, looks like it's going to be Apple TV. Now, it just looks like it's going to be Apple TV. What was it last week where the commissioner of the Pac-12 talked about, hey, we know where we're going to have our games played. We know who's going to be our TV partner. But we're not choosing to tell you that now. We want this to be about football. And I went, I don't think he has a TV partner right now. That felt like it was still negotiations or whatever it might be. Because if I am Apple TV or any streaming partner, or any potential TV partner, first thing I'm saying is, who's going to be in the Pac-12? First of all, do you know? And the commissioner doesn't know. Because if Arizona State, and Utah go, let's just go to the Big 12. Then the Pac-12 is going to be, the artist formerly known as. You'll have 6 schools. And then what happens after that? You're going to have Oregon and you're going to have Washington that the Big 10 will probably take a look at. And then what are you going to have after that? I mean, it's just been a mess. But they're not even the Pac-10. They'd be back to the Pac-8. Yeah, Seton.
Doesn't it seem like a place like Apple doesn't really care, though?
Well, but they should care that, can we find it? College football is about how convenient it is. You're flipping through and you're like, but if you said, hey, to get that game, you got to go there and then do this, and is it going to be a marquee game? If it's a great game, then you'll find it. But if I say, hey, Oregon State is playing Stanford, well, if I'm flipping through the channels late at night and I'll go, all right, I'm going to watch this. You got to make it easy for me to find that. It's like Thursday night football. Well, people had a hard time finding where Thursday night football was, or I got to do this and HDMI. What am I doing here?
HDMI.
Yeah.
But it feels like Apple, though, like they just can throw money at things. Like they've decided as a business we want to get into sports. Just start buying stuff up, and then we'll figure out how it works.
But if I'm going to invest in the Pac-12, granted, I may have all the money in the world, but what kind of product am I getting? I mean, you're going to get it on the cheap, but then what's the Pac-12 going to look like in 2 or 3 years? Will there be a Pac-12? I think we're on the precipice of the potential collapse of the Pac-12. I think we got an Amber Alert here going on. And it started with UCLA and USC. You let them go to the Big Ten. But I have to believe Arizona State, and Utah could be on the cusp of saying, what are we staying around here for? And then what's Stanford and Cal do? Because, that's higher learning, that's education first. Are they going to stay? They go independent. Does Stanford go independent? I don't know. They didn't bring in San Diego State, SMU. Those are still potential schools to bring in. But, man, it happened quickly. The game of musical chairs in college football. Yes, Eden.
It feels like not only conferences, but individual schools are finding out what their real value is in the sort of grand scheme of things, where it's like, no, we're a big program, right? It turns out maybe not.
Apparently, there was a call last year from the Big 12 to the Pac-12 to say, hey, the commissioners, could we talk about maybe a merger here? And then, according to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, the Pac-12 commissioner said no. They weren't interested in a merger. And then fast forward to this year, reportedly the commissioner reached out to the Big 12 commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, and went, hey, what about that merger? And then the Big 12 went, nah, not interested. Yeah, Paulie.
It does feel like the Pac-12 is a great conference for all sports. Like swimming and volleyball and all these great West Coast sports that are great. But I don't know if they put enough focus on football as the alpha dog of the conference. When the other conferences do it, almost exclusively, we're going to win football. The SEC has become a good basketball conference as well, but that's the trickle down from football. All these big time football conferences, they lead with football and then everything else comes in.
But I think the ACC, they signed a bad TV deal. They got 12-year deal. And the SEC schools and the Big Ten schools are making more money off their TV deals. What's going to happen with the ACC? Do they expand? I think we're really right on the ledge of college football changing. And who would have thought that these would be week-to-week decisions? Not year-to-year. It's now week-to-week going, wait, who's staying? Who's going? Wait, Colorado's going back to the Big 12. Okay. Well, Texas and Oklahoma, that started it too when they decided they were going to check out from the Big 12. And then we thought, oh, my God, Big 12's in trouble here. Well, the Big 12, you got to give them credit. They've held it together. You do lose your marquee schools in Texas and Oklahoma, but we'll talk some college football a little bit later on about the Pac-12, and is it on the verge of collapsing? Because it certainly feels that way.